I want to talk about a channel here on YouTube called Uncorrupted Truth. It's a guy from the island. He lives in the area. Been following him for a few years. And he basically, he talks about the same things I do, except he does it way better, in a more articulate fashion, and way more in depth. And I had lost track of him because he sometimes has to change his channel name and like start over again because they're always whacking him down. And he's been harassed, like in real life, not just online. In real life. And because he'll get into stuff like, whereas like I'll just talk around things, he'll break down things really artistically, and nothing's off limits for him. He gives a lot of information about the 12 families, or the 13, depending if you want to count one. But and he gets really specific about some of the plans and some of the schemes that have been worked on for years. He'll talk about really anything that has anything to do with truth stuff. He does it really well. So because of this, they're always smacking him down. His subscriber base, the new channel he has right now, which is called Uncorrupted Truth, I think it's like 300 subscribers. And his videos are always getting taken down. And I was reading something, because I was trying to find him. I didn't know this was the name of his new channel, because I'd lost track of him. And he shoots a lot around town too. Like, he'll go around and whereas I walk the same neighborhood, he has a car, so he moves around quite a bit. Yeah, so it's basically like this channel, but way better. So anyway, he was answering some questions on one of, I think it was his Facebook page. And someone was asking him, and I only thought of it after the video I did yesterday. I kind of tied into it. Someone was asking him how many guys on YouTube are basically, the real deal. Like, real guy on the street. Reporting, and he basically said none, and he's right. The guys that are allowed to speak, that have thousands of subscribers, some 100, some 50, who never have problems, I have 20 subscribers, or not many more than that. And I've already got a ban and a channel strike for talking about stuff. These other guys are getting away with it because they're gatekeepers. Now, some may not know that they're gatekeepers, but that's pretty rare. Because all the guys that I follow that have meaningful information or insights on things, they all each have certain subjects they won't go into, or they'll like dismiss outright, or gaslight about. I don't think any of them can talk about them, and they get upset if you bring it up. One guy who I was mentioning recently had a meltdown over the mud flood stuff, saying there's absolutely no evidence for it, and there is. So you watch it and you're just like, oh, come on, man, But what they're designed to do is they're designed to get the entry-level guy, or maybe even more advanced guy, who's interested in truth subjects, I guess. And what they do is they want people, like just regular people, to come across him and be like, oh wow, this guy is really, he's talking about some real stuff, not knowing that he's part of the layout, and his job is to give you some information, some of which, you know, may be pertinent, factual, illuminating stuff, but only to a point. It's like they feel like, all right, there are going to be people who have the time and the inclination to want to look into some of this stuff. We can't avoid people from doing that. So just like everything else they do, they make the controlled opposition. They put these guys in place, whether they were doing it already and they co-opt them, or they create them whole cloth, and they'll act as someone who's, you know, doing something or saying something, but they're actually only gonna stick with this certain amount of subjects. And they're gonna, like, I mean, a lot of the guys I watch, I do get stuff out of them, but, you know, there's some in particular I can think of that have just been spinning their wheels on the same crowd for a couple of years now. And they would rather have you tuned in to these one or two dudes who spin their wheels and won't talk about certain things. And that is enough nourishment, mental nourishment for most people, where they won't go looking any deeper, because they think, oh, this guy, he's clearly on the side of light. He's talking about all this, and, you know, I found the guy, you know. And then there'll be a couple other guys you might find who are also compromised too. You just don't get to have a platform of that many people when you have other guys like me and this other Hawaii guy who have much, much smaller followings and get, like, harassed, banned, strikes, all this stuff. And those guys can have thousands, some hundreds of thousands. Nah. There's layers of deception to everything. And this, it's just another layer of deception. They do, you know, have some good points, some good insights, but their main function is to, like, you know, you're going for the, you have the puck and you're going for the goal. Their job is to be the goalie. Like, whoa, 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 oh, you're interested in this? Let me tell you all about it. And then they won't, and then they'll tell you what, they'll tell you some stuff about it. Another guy might talk about different stuff, but he's also only got a certain amount of things he can talk about. And they goalie for truth. As far as, like, independent guy on the street, you're never going to find one with any sort of sizable following, because they're not allowed to have one. You know, like this guy in particular I'm talking about, he's got to stick and move. Like, he's always changing his aliases. I do the same thing. This is like the fifth different sort of name I've had. And what I was talking about yesterday about Instagram, it's the same thing on YouTube. You just have to battle with them, and you have to have, like, backup plans. You have to work in their system, and the best way to fight them is to work in their rules. With YouTube, it's a little more tricky though. It's quicker, you know. They can shut you down a lot quicker, and for a lot less. So yeah, there's good channels. I talk about a lot of them, but for the most part, they're gatekeepers. I mean, there's no way they're not. We wouldn't be able to see them if they weren't, you know, or they wouldn't be as visible as they are. The best thing to do is, if you see anyone talk about something that you find an interest in, make sure it's worth your time first to go investigating it. And then just, like, don't use Google, because that's just so paused. I mean, I'd go with Bing or DuckDuckGo, even though they're not much better. And when you search a subject, a good way to do it is search blogs or image voids, places where people are allowed to speak more freely. None of this stuff is going to have what a lot of people seem to cry about a lot, where they want citations and official sources. Of course they're not going to have official sources. If it's an official source, they're not able to tell you anything. The way you get a picture about stuff is to go to multiple places. It's a lot more reading than you'll find in a video. Although BitChute has a lot of good guys on it too that are allowed to say what they want. That's a good spot to go to. There's a little bit more freedom there. More so than YouTube, because it's a less popular uploading site. But are some of these guys better than nothing? Sure. But the way to utilize them as a resource is if you hear anything interesting that they say, and the same thing with me or anybody else, do your own search part. You look into it, and a lot of it too is self-reflection. Just think about it. Some of these ideas are, why is this way? Just think about it quietly. Some people meditate. I can't really do that, but reflection is a good way to see if, not so much to get new information, because it's hard to do even though you do have the information, but to run it by the bullshit filter. You have that inner knowing, the inner tuning fork, because everything is frequency, including lies and truth. And you don't have to know the exact frequency, you just have to understand that everything is frequency, and that certain frequencies have signatures. So after a while, if you keep thinking in that way, you can begin to recognize certain things in a frequency way. Maybe not exactly, but it helps. You got to sort of hone these skills. But yeah, I was just thinking of that after reading that quote. Nobody, there's nobody on YouTube that has that is just the honest guy on the street, schizo with ideas. And those of us that are, we're not allowed to grow to any sort of size before they, knock us back down again. But, that's just the nature of the beast. And it is dying. So, hope springs eternal. Don't blame the teacher, blame the school.